Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Question Time Live, episode 105. How are you all? Have you been washed away? My God, I was actually going to wander off into the studio this evening, and decided against it once we had the most horrendous downpour and thunder and lightning. Thought, no way. So here I am at home again. But yeah, hope you're all well. It's the weather's took a big turn this week, hasn't it? Which is a bit of a nightmare for those unheated ponds. There's going to have been a big crash, unfortunately. But nothing we can do about that. Just deal with what we're faced with. Good evening. Clearly, good morning as well to those tuning in from the US. Who I'm not quite sure what time it is over there, but morning to you anyway. Been a busy week for myself so far. It's getting to that time of year. I'm trying to get new fish out, trying to create some pond space. All I seem to have done this week is just move fish from one side to the other type of thing, moving them sideways. Oh God, honestly, because as I've took new fish out, older fish that have been kind of sat, not doing what I wanted them to do, have come back in, and the net outcome so far this week is that I've still not got any empty ponds. Brilliant. Tends to be how that goes anyway. But fish looking good. Some amazing stuff out. More stuff planning to come out as well. Yeah, plenty going on, as you can quite imagine. But fish looking good. What was phenomenal? This was it yesterday. I think I did it. It was yesterday. I moved my NND DK Shiro Tatagoi, and you can already see the grin look. I had these fish. I've not touched them since they arrived, pretty much. In fact, I haven't. There've not been any selection. All the fish have just been left in that 1,200-gallon pond. Obviously, water's been pretty murky from all the feeding and whatnot. But I knew they were doing well. I've had a couple up and done the odd little video, but yeah. So because I had freed up a 3.5K pond, I decided to move them this week because, again, such a special batch of fish. It was an amazing opportunity. And my God, as they came up in the net, oh God, I was stunned, honestly. What those good afternoon from Canada as well. God, what I saw there was just bonkers, honestly. Two elements to it. Pat on the back for myself, for one, because obviously you've got to fulfill the potential. 1,200-gallon pond with just shy of 50 fish in there, because I had a few fatalities from stupid jump outs and stuff, but oh wow, the body, not only getting that, the bone structures of them is just mental, right? But that's obviously genetics, and so consistent, not just in those, the ones I'm growing for the Battle of the Breeders as well, that weren't from the Tatagoi selection, are looking insane. But these, I mean, every fish, and if you have seen that video on the channel, these are the ones I was picking against Fujo. So one we was picking like that backwards and forwards. And he passed comment that I was focusing heavily on bone structure. And my God, I'm glad I did. The heads, just these huge, long, rounded faces, backbones, just the whole lot. And I'd really, got them filling into it as well. So buzzing for that. There's some real top pieces showing already. Quite a lot showing, not really anything at all, nearly plain white fish now, which I still will be patient with, as you can quite imagine. They need time, but yeah, honestly, just having witnessed kind of that yesterday, seeing what the others are doing, it's just reinforces for me. This is right up there with the top of Shiro lineages at the moment. Just hopefully, and I've no doubt they will, they can pass to the next generation, which the first batch of the new generation will be this year, because the original parent fish has now passed. So exciting to see where they go with it moving forward. But the basis of it there, is insane. Now, I've got a video I've done that will be dropping on the channel, no doubt, over the weekend of that. So stay tuned for it. Yeah, epic. And then, yeah, you might see as well, I've been having a play around. I found, just crazy, that I've got a little gorilla pod, they're called, cracking little bit of kit that I can basically end up strapping the camera to almost anything. So on Sunday, I was actually quite busy up at the farm over the weekend, but on Sunday, I was getting a selection done, and yeah, I thought, why not? So I banged the live stream on, and it was really, really good. I hope, those who tuned in and who's watched it since enjoyed it. It's not the best quality, but it gets you in there. And then did it again on Monday, I think it was, when I was in another pond, but pretty nice just to share that experience, to be honest. And I'll be doing more of it. So yeah, I have actually got, hopefully, an improved connection getting put in at the farm. So the lads have been working on, and if that happens, I have no doubt we'll actually have the capacity to be streaming some proper high-res stuff, which will be really amazing and give us some different options. But there we go. Obviously, I don't need to remind you guys. I think I do, because I've not seen many so far. Any questions? I'm all yours this evening, because I've not really got, I know we went a bit topical last week, which seemed to go down well, I'm sure, for most of you all. A few of the ones that tune in and never say out and like to go and share my videos for their own agendas in their little groups and stuff afterwards seem to have a bit to say, and completely misunderstood the point of it. But there we go. That happens as well. I'm just glad I can manage to help everybody create a bit of content along the way. Just, I'd appreciate a bit of a tag, even if you are bitching about me. Just give me a tag. Come on, give me some credit. Yeah, and I know you're watching, by the way. So yeah, that aside, what else have we got here? Just yeah, the heat pump one, right? So that's been rumbling on. I think I definitely should have got myself signed up to some air source. I'll see what Lee's got there. I actually mentioned it. Some air source heat pump company, because my God, from a couple of groups I've seen, sales of them seem to have gone through the roof, to be honest with you, since that episode. And I think absolutely well worth it to kind of come back to that point. Seeing the weather as it is now, it seems like September is going to be an absolute shitter. Talks of people getting ponds covered and all the rest of it. I mean, it's absolute killer for your hobby. And really looking on, if you can get your head around getting one of those, it just seems like the running costs absolutely check out as not being an extreme expense, even over winter. But I'm not looking at this. This is to extend and improve the summer experience. Maybe take you from a 5-6 months to 9 months a year in your hobby is where we're aiming with this, to get the absolute maximum enjoyment. So I really think it's becoming an essential bit. And to really reinforce the point from last week, I don't think I need to. I think it was delivered. But if it's coming down to decisions and you're building a new pond, and you are on a budget, that's actually reminded me of where I wanted to get with that. Because despite some people wanting to jump on the bandwagon and, get upset that they think I've been calling drums out and all the rest of it, completely missing the point. I actually, even in the conversation, I look back and now my content is all about, I'm not for the elite on here. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm for the guys in this hobby, for loving it at all kind of levels, who want to learn, want to get more out of it. This is why I produce content and have done for a long, long time now, a lot of videos, and it's helping a lot of people. The whole point of me trying to point this out, and even when I was talking last week, I watched that video back. And when I was talking, I even went in, dumbing it down to if the budget was £2,000 for a filter or £2,500, whatever it was. But you know what? No, buddy. No, Steve. No booze this week, mate. I'm dry, mate. I've got absolutely none left. Shocking. It's pure H2O, that bad boy. Through a filter, mine. Can't drink that tap water shite. Yeah. And that got me thinking, even talking about a pond filtration system costing £2,000 even puts that out of the reach of so many people. So I've sat and carried that around and gone, you know what? I don't even really dumbed it down enough, not dumbed it down. broadened out the scope enough there in what I was talking about. Because again, the whole point of it, the whole point of me showing you guys what can be done with a pond that has heat, yes, always point that out, but is not a particularly massive pond, has a brush chamber, has a fluid bed, one water pump return, one air pump. The whole point of pointing that out and highlighting what you can do is that can be done so cheaply. We're not talking about £2,000 or £2,500 to build something like that. We're talking about not a lot of money whatsoever. And the fact of the matter is, for me, you know, if you're watching this and thinking about getting into koi keeping, or you just started out, and I don't want anyone to think it's inferior or out of reach. That is the whole point of what I do. And from that, if you can take from what I say and say, right, well, God, if he can do that with that basic equipment, what should I be able to do if I up it from that brush chamber to a sieve or to a Nexus, or then to a drum if you want one? Well, yeah, fantastic. Surely you should improve. But in all that as well, the core message is, at the same time, make sure you improve your knowledge. Don't just be someone with all the gear and no idea, because that's not going to get you very far. And everything I do is just to prove the absolute base level of, look, if you've only got this, look what you can do. Right now, with the Battle of the Breeders grow out fish, you know, the Shiros, they've been grown in a Nexus, a pond that's got a Nexus 200 with the standard load, standard 50 litres of media in it. Why have I done that? I've done that to prove that with the experience I have, what you can do. Not even an automatic feeder. Just in case you're out there and go, I can't really afford an automatic feeder, or it don't work for me. Okay, fine. Well, here's another program, you know, we can use, and another method we can approach to feed him without using that and still getting the results. Big bit in it all again. Yes, heat. I'm going to keep running with that one now, because that to me is doing what you can to get, you know, that into your pond to improve enjoyment, reduce stress, all the rest of it. I'm all for it. But yeah, you know, there's systems out. You don't even need to be talking. This is the whole point of £2,500 for filtration systems. If you're watching this and you're thinking of getting into the hobby, and there is a lot of people that watch that actually reach out, that was quite nice. Actually, I had a comment the other week that said it took me by surprise. I've not even got a koi pond. I just stumbled across your videos and enjoy watching them. Yeah, fair enough. But those type of people, you know, we want to entice more into the hobby. It's all good for everyone. The more that comes in, the more there is of everything, and the better that the industry does, the better the hobby will be. So if you're coming into this, there is nothing wrong. You can make your filters. This is why I get at when I was saying last week, actually learn about the concepts of what a filter does before you just go out and spend all the money on it. Because if you are struggling, especially, that's where you can get, if you can't stretch to the crazy numbers that some of these systems are, can you learn how to get the benefits from that, but do it in another way? Albeit, yes, that's likely going to be that manually you're going to have to put a bit more labor, time and effort and all the rest into it. But for some, for me especially, a lot of enjoyment in that. You know, I've actually, this week, we've had a bit of a reshuffle and Matt had been away. I've been back in the filter house cleaning brushes last week, and I tell you what, I fucking loved it. Headphones on, up there on my Todd at the weekend. It was absolutely dreamy. Just in between, pottering around, checking on old fish. Epic. So yeah, that's it, guys. You know, I don't even think you don't need to get into this hobby at the base level. And this is just all along. I will be that voice that goes, look, PVC pond liners, there's nothing wrong with them. You don't need to have the fucking pond fiberglass. You don't need to be stuck up and arrogant about, oh, it must be fiberglass, because instantly you're into a shitload of money. Even the price difference. I sold PVC liners for years. When you get a good quality one, and we had a good supplier, I mean, this cost saving against butyl at that point was phenomenal. So if that's the difference of somebody getting into the hobby and not getting into the hobby, fine, have the PVC, because there's actually nothing wrong with it. You know, yeah, it might not look great. You can improve upon it over time, but you want to learn. You just want to get people in through the door to start enjoying it. And then even then, the difference between butyl having box welded, doesn't have to be box welded, you know, just go with a normal butyl. I'd actually, by the way, most of the time pick a butyl liner over having fiberglass, just because, again, you can reduce a lot of a risk, and a good butyl liner will last you a lifetime. And that's just the way it is. I'm all for knowledge and improving that experience and just enjoyment, guys. That's the bottom line of it. So yeah, after reflecting on that video, I just don't think it went far enough to encourage everyone out there. You know, there is nothing wrong with creating your own system, or if you are working on a small budget, there are a load of ways to still get exceptional results. You're just going to have to put the time in a bit more, and you are going to have to up that knowledge fast. But it's one of the best ways of learning, in all honesty. So yeah, but I've from all that, just because as well, I don't like to think that there's any confusion in what I'm saying. I think I'm pretty consistent in my messaging and my methodologies and stuff. However, I think it'd be a good idea to put a video together. So we've started working on it already. A few things on the likes of filtration and pond design. So there's a very clear message orchestrated throughout it, no matter what level you're at. It'll be a useful resource that'll sit on the channel for you to, learn and benefit from, hopefully, whether you are building a new pond, you're new to koi keeping, whatever it is, go for it. And as far as I'm concerned, if it gets you into the hobby, you know, I will get ridiculed for saying this because some people hate it, but you can make koi ponds work with box filters, with pressure filters. Don't matter what it is, trust me, you can make it work. Look at my Allow. I run a lot of my sales systems. It's got an homemade trickle tower with sponge and pumice stone in it. I have no issues saying it, because the water in a lot of them ponds is phenomenal. And I hold stocking levels and still probably feeding them way beyond what most people do because of the stocking level. You know, it's just understanding about it. So but like I say, my whole point is to show you where the boundaries are, where the edges are, where the limits are, what you can do with the most basic of stuff. If you want to go beyond it and improve it for lifestyle choice or whatever it is, because it is your hobby, fantastic, good for you. Got nothing against everyone, but I'll always say it as I see it. So yes, happy days on that one. Let's get stuck into some questions, folks. Sorry, what's Steve saying? There are levels to the hobby. Exactly. Before you get involved with stocking into stocking koi into a pond, work out your budget and your options. Staying away from the cowboys is the secret. Listening to people like Ricky and his network will get you off on the right foot. Appreciate that, Steve. That's actually a skill in life as well, isn't it? Actually finding out who to listen to, because I mean, my God, just in so many industries, there's so many fucking cowboys and stuff out there. It's wild. But, you know, there are ways of looking. A lot of people can talk the talk. I think you've got to learn to look through that and see what's actually stacked behind the people that put themselves out there, and, look a bit deeper into some of these CVs, guys, because I've seen people in years, spouting and recommending products, and you actually see what they're doing and using, and it's nothing like what they're actually telling you. It's bizarre. Not just in our industry, by the way, in various different stuff, but it's pretty daunting when you just have to put yourself out there and you don't particularly know a lot about something. Anyway, before I get off on some other kind of rant, let's see who we've got in this evening. I'll just fire some up on the screen. But yes, good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all, wherever you are in the world. Ollie Oliver, yours ain't going on the screen, mate. Jesus Christ, potty mouth. Shocking. Hi all from the USA. Evening, Rick. Evening, all. Yeah, nice to see so many of you all tuned in again as well. Honestly, just thinking about it again, that DK Shiro pond the other day. Oh my God, was that sensational. 11 a.m. there over in the States, look. Nice to see so many different people from all around tuning in. To be honest, the kind of reach out I've had from over in Canada at the minute's been absolutely insane. I didn't realize even there was so much of a koi scene going on in Canada as kind of been demonstrated to me. Oh, there we go. First question on. Evening, Ricky. Are you going to Japan this autumn? Yes, of course, mate. We'll be doing that. Not sure when at the minute. It's likely going to be the early part. I'm not actually really intending to go for buying any Nisai or older because I've got so much of that stuff we've been raising. But I'll be more than likely going for a look early doors to look at the little stuff and everything that's coming up for next year. So important stuff, that one, for me and what we do. But yeah, as ever, we'll see what it spans into, mate. There's the NND mud ponds that all get harvested on that trip as well. It's been done with JPN Koi, so yeah, that one, looking forward to that as well. That gets tied in, and then those fish will get shipped back hopefully by the end of the month, along with anything that I do end up buying while I'm there. That being said as well, I've actually got a shipment due to come in this month, which is quite an exciting one. And yeah, as I said at the beginning, not managing to make any pond space for that one yet, which is a giggle, but always seem to manage it somehow. Good evening to all of you. There we go. Look, Paul from Canada. Terry, even Ricky, not so much a question, but more of a request. What is that then, Terry? You're going to let me know, mate, and we'll see if we can do anything with it. Yes, Dave, the fish ones. So plenty more of those to come. Scott from California. I bet you've not got it absolutely pouring down like it is here. Crazy. And yeah, apologies, guys, if you can hear any of the noise in the background. I think my daughter's having her singing lesson. It's been a bit rowdy. It sounds more like a party. Right, there's a question I've just missed. Just bear with me a minute. Ricky, seen a couple of videos recently of unintentional koi deaths with PP overdosing accidentally. Yes, well, to be honest, that's been a thing with PP I've seen all over the years. People not weighing it out properly for a start is a big one. Got to be accurate. Not seen any of them videos, mate, to be fair. I don't know what kind of backing or histories or anything behind all that, but got to be careful. One of the worst ones I remember is when a customer started weighing in ounces and not grams. And that was always going to be a fatal one in the end. But yeah, a lot with medications in general. This is why it's so difficult, and I am so cautious about going near these topics because there's so many variables to it all. And this is the one big thing about giving advice. You really need to truly understand all those different variables and the understanding the person who's going to be using it has to the potential risks and awareness of spotting potential problems. It's wild, and I am very conscious that, you know, I can just spout something on here and all of a sudden everyone's going to try it and give it a shot. It's yeah, got to be very mindful of it. Right, just bear with me, guys. Yes, Susan. Is there a video on selecting the Shiro? Like I say, I have got it all filmed. I'll drop it over, and Aaron will no doubt get on with that and get it at the channel over the weekend. I've been doing that many different jobs here and there, two days in a row. I've not actually finished the videos off properly, which is just completely stupid of me. But there is the basis of it, Court, so we'll stick it out there anyway. But I'll just get my apologies in now in advance for the very random endings they're possibly going to have, where it just drops off to nothing, and then the next video you watch, we're on a new day, and I've forgot half of what I told you I was filming on the first one. Just never quite seems to be enough hours in the day. It's mental. Andy J, I'm hoping to get a Kimatsuba, but I've not seen many available. I've seen some metallics for sale, but not just keys. Hard to get hold of. Not bred much. And who would be the go-to? Okay, so yeah, if it's a non-metallic one you're after, Marihiro is typically your man for those. He's been the most prominent person. In fact, the only person I can think of that I go to. They'll likely have some at Parasite as well, but from what I've seen, the colour at Marihiro tends to be better. There will be some crossover in their lineages somewhere, no doubt, being brothers, and I know parent fish are sometimes shared between them, but yeah, typically Marihiro is your man. If you want to throw something a bit of a mix into it, the new type of golden corn will produce you that kind of color, albeit you get the red kind of Kanoko glow that tends to come up from kind of beneath upwards. But trust me, they do look phenomenal, and the sort of genetics within those fish are insane, absolutely insane. So that might be another option for you, buddy, to be honest with you. I've got quite a few, I say quite a few, literally a few of those kicking around that have been growing, and watching their progress, how they've shot in length. And as I've got it, stocking levels reduced, now they're piling on the volume. Just growing machines, quite closely related to Magoi in that lineage, hence why them characteristics are coming out in them. But other than that, buddy, yeah, I'd be looking towards Marihiro's direction. Just be prepared. It's one of those varieties. Yeah, expectations are, oh, it's just a Kimatsuba. No. Yes, a Kimatsuba spawning will produce a shitload of fish. Generally, they do. But when you actually start narrowing it down, you take out scale alignment issues and things like that. And then the fact that the minute one gets a little black dot, nobody wants it. Yeah, the numbers just become so few. I remember a client one year getting caught out with that, actually, where it was after one, quite a big one. And he says, oh, I'm out in the round pond at Marihiro. And yeah, very quickly backtracked on that idea. And I knew what was coming, because they're just so hard to get, the big, really refined examples. So even something Nisai Sanzai you might find will sting you quite a bit if you're looking for that level of one. But anyway, that's where I would head. And if you want to try something a bit different, possibly one of the new type golden corn might work for you. Lee, mate, honestly, your chat's a giggle, pal, for sure, but you ain't going up on this screen and upsetting everybody. Brilliant. Who are you pissing off this week? God only knows, Craig. Good fun, though, isn't it? Right, here we go. Hi, Ricky. Can you please go into detail in the running of green water? Okay, so I've had a few ponds recently, one in particular that I intentionally let go green. And it kind of proved a few things for me. Now, you know, I've mentioned a few things on Sumi lately, and I hankering towards, I've not let on too much, but it's the impact that UV has on it, and not necessarily temperature. This is something I really sort of picked up last winter, especially in the winter before, and it's just been coming more and more and reinforcing it. So yeah, I let one of these ponds go green, and sure enough, it's been for quite a prolonged period now. And I just literally just turn the UV off. But being in the greenhouse with the intensity of the UV, generally, it doesn't take very long. And yeah, I mean, it's cleared up now. I've had it clearing because I need to get some of the fish out, and it's pretty much done everything I anticipated. You come up, the Benny's absolutely gleaming as always, which I believe is the UV control there. The green water, naturally cultivates a bit of spirulina, which is all good for them. But it's more the shine on the skin as they come up. But the big thing I'd noticed in it all as well is that the Sumi had done exactly what I thought it had. In a few fish where the intense UV had kind of bleached it off them almost, it's come back, or started coming back anyway. And yeah, I weren't surprised, in all honesty. But yeah, running it is a different beast. You've got to have an extreme level of confidence in what you are doing, because you are working blind. This kind of scenario, you've got to be confident that you can truly generally understand where the fish are at. You've got a mature, established system. You're confident in your routines. You're confident that you're not potentially, going to have a problem that you can't see. But this is the issue. Without all that, you are working blind, so it's a lot easier to miss little details that you would proactively try and probably preempt a big problem from starting, even just the early signs of a parasitic problem or something like that. So it's definitely not, there's a lot of advantages to it for sure. If you are happy to do it, it really is a fish first policy, because obviously you're not going to see your fish, and the best time of year to do it really would be in the summer, which for a lot is when they're enjoying the pond. So I absolutely get the conflict there in that, but it's not for the faint-hearted, because like I say, you're working blind, so you've got to be confident that you'll be able to pick up and anticipate and see problems in the small window when you're probably going to see them up at the top and feed in or something like that. If you don't, like I say, very quickly, you could come to harvesting that pond and you had a full-blooded bacterial problem, for example, because you missed something that, had it been clear, would have been really little. You'd have picked it up quickly and dealt with it. But because you've been working blind, you haven't, and it's a nightmare. So, yeah, to be honest, not something, although there are benefits to it, I won't hide away from that, not something I would actively promote just because of the management of it and the risks involved in working blind. So yeah, tough one really there to say much more on. Just that's the pros and cons to it. If you are ultra confident in your routines and everything you do and you want to trial it, fantastic, go for it. But there are other ways of controlling UV. Admittedly, it's probably going to be a more costly ones, because really study, the potential balance you need in UV is phenomenal to really balance up, Benny, Sumi, and Shiroji requirements in all this, which is interesting. I will start sharing kind of more on where I'm at with all that stuff soon. But I have known for a long time, obviously, light impacts being a big thing, and a lot of big breeders have quite sophisticated shading systems in the greenhouses, but finding the sweet spots, I mean, my God, it's going to be a giggle. But as far as I can see, yeah, the intense sort of summer UV, and this is where I come to it again, how clear do you want your water? Because this ultra clean, clear, straight out the tap like that, yeah, it looks fantastic. But that, believe me, if it's a pond that's just open to the elements in the height of summer, is not the best thing for your koi. I do know that for sure. There's a compromise somewhere to be had in all that. What filtration would you recommend on a small budget for a 6,000 litre pond? Regan, can you let me know what the budget is? No shame here from me. I can better advise. My default go-to there, I mean, 6,000 litres is around about 1,000-ish gallon, isn't it? So I would say just gut reaction there would be an easy pod. But I don't know where your budget's at, buddy. So just going with something in between, not going too wild, an easy pod. But my preference with them is to run them gravity fed. I've run both, and I've run a lot of them over the years. And the difference in performance between gravity and pump was just absolutely night and day. If we need to go lower than that, or we want more clout for that, I think, to be honest with you, where you're at there, you need to be looking more towards potentially building something, a homemade system of some description. It might even be that you go easy pod and use it more of a mechanical system. I actually don't know where the price of the pod's at these days. It might even be that a sieve would be a better alternative, but possibly the pod, and then look to build some kind of bio fluid bed yourself. Or like I say, if we need to go further back than that, nothing wrong with setting up your own system altogether and getting some brushes in and bio. The big thing with the pod is you are limited in size. I mean, I ran a 1,200 gallon pond on a gravity fed pod for years, and it was insane what I did with that pond. I mean, stocking it heavily with Nisai most of the time, and it always kept phenomenally well. It really did. But again, I got everything set really well for that system as well. But yeah, there wasn't the clout and the capacity in there, don't get me wrong, to do any crazy heavy feeding like growth or anything like that. So yeah, if you want to just again divulge where you kind of be at or what you'd be looking to spend on a filter system, we can come back to that and go from there, and I'd love to do that. Right, let's see what else we've got. I'm in the process of making a pond with pallets. Amazing, Sean. I'd love to see how you get on with that, mate. By the end of it, feel free to send me some pictures in. Can koi recover the luster of the shine of the skin after experienced stress? 100%. This is something I have touched upon a little bit, is that I think as hobbyists, the general perception is I don't know if it's just where a bar set or whatever it is, you're trying to keep the fish, in 100% kind of show mode all the time. And that's honestly not realistic to what I know it from kind of our side of the fence, because there's ups and downs, peaks and troughs all the time, and development is a process. You know, so if you are, it's knowing full well, you know, if you're trying to keep Shiroji looking fantastic, you're going to sacrifice somewhere. You're not going to be able to hammer them with a growth food. Generally, there's going to be some cost to doing everything that you do. And luster's one of them. Luster's a bit different. I don't like to lose it, but it will dip and it will go down. You will get it at peak. You can just go through a bad water period and you'll lose it, or after a parasitic problem, you'll lose it. And it is very easy to recover skin luster. I think the big things are here is when you lose skin luster completely, and I've seen this in ponds that suffer from really bad water, and especially those with heavy metals, you never get any skin luster because you can't get the mucus healthy enough to produce that really clear shine that it needs. It tends to stay a bit whiter and a bit more opaque, and there's a lot of it. So it makes everything look very, very flat. So if you experience that on a continual basis, that is when you really know you want to be looking deeper, or if the health of the fish, if the water's good but the health isn't there, you're going to get that. But yeah, 100% they can recover it with ease. But if it is an ongoing problem, like I say, look, because that is a telltale sign for me that there's something deeper and not right. Every pond I've seen generally with a metals problem has had fish with a very, very flat luster. I think, again, UV plays a big part in all this as well. And yeah, very interesting one, that too much UV potentially damaging that, and then also not enough. It's all about that balance and that sweet spot again. Ari Salt, can you give your thoughts on if, when, and how this should be applied? Yeah, I saw one of the groups of conversation flared up on this the other day. So salt for me is useful. I mean, in retail, having a background salt level is fantastic. 0.3% just there in the background to help prevent against the stressful life that they will live in a retail system is good. There is no harm in having that as a background level in any pond, but do you need it? No, not necessarily. So if the water's all good, there should be no need to have that in there. I would want to use it generally in a hobbyist environment is if there's a problem. So if you've got a prolonged nitrite spike, that's going to be very useful to use it. If you're recovering from severe illness or high stress, or a prolonged period where you've been having to medicate, it can be useful. At that point, it can be useful to use it a bit higher, but no higher for me than like 0.5 to 0.6% for like a 2-week period before it starts being reduced down again. Going higher than that, I don't like. You can, kill parasites with it. We've got to take it up to right up to 0.9, which you don't want to be going any higher. And this is for such a short time. For me, it's just too stressful to do it because you generally can't get it down quick enough. And at them kind of levels, you can actually force scale loss in the fish as well, which I have seen happen. So yeah, for me, them limits at 0.5, 0.6. But that is I'm saying that I'm classing that as medicating at that level. It's not as a medication, but that's allowing from heavy stress recovery. So that's the level I would use around that for recovering from sleeping disease, which again is high stress. And yeah, regards adding it to the pond, this is a big debate. But look, the breeders have seen them do it. I do it. When I'm adding salt to the pond, I just chuck it straight in. If you've actually ever watched fish do this, when you put anything in the water, yes, instantly they might be curious and head towards it. When they realize they don't like it, they turn around and go the other way. Trust me. So don't worry about that. But again, if you're building salt up, you need to do it over a period. If you're going up to 0.5 or 6 especially, you ain't just going there instantly, because we know koi like stability and they don't like big rapid change. So if you're going up to 0.6, you're going to do that over like a 2 to 3 day period. Up to 0.3, you can drag that out over a morning and an evening and get them up there. That's not going to be a problem. And for me, just get it whacked in. It's the way I've been doing it. Breeders have been doing it for generations. And yeah, if you actually watch, you put any medication in there, as soon as they realize, don't like this, they get away from it. So, and I've never done any harm to a fish yet from just adding salt directly into the water. I don't care what anyone says on that one. My experience tells me different. Magazine, right? So next week I've got you're going to see the video come up big announcement on all that, where it's at, the back issue that hasn't made it out to people, the whole shebang. So I'm not going to give away where we're at and what we're doing with all that yet. But yeah, stay tuned for a separate one coming on that next week, guys, which I'm looking forward to sharing with you and actually getting that resolved and yeah, seeing where we head in future. Can you recommend a heat pump? No, I don't. It's obviously not something that I do use. I'm on the fossil fuel systems at the commercial level we've got. All I do know is, and it's all changed so much, I don't keep up with them. Like I said last week, there'll be dealers better suited to advising on that, who are selling them on a regular basis. And yeah, they seem to, I mean, some of them come down in price considerably now. So I would contact a retailer that you're familiar with, who seems clued up on them, and sell them and see what they've got to say about that one. Good evening, buddy. Scott Pearson, ideal pond depth, great videos, by the way, awesome, appreciate that. Yeah, for me, maximum 1.5 meters, no need to go beyond it. Minimum really of about 1 meter. You can do it with less. You're just going to want some real, you know, insane temperature control. That's what you need on that one, because the shallower you go, if you aren't covering that or protecting it in winter, that's going to get cold to the point where it's going to be dangerous. But yeah, 1 meter to 1.5 meter, absolutely superb. The majority I've got at my place are around 1 meter, and the 3.5K ponds are literally just over it, and they work incredibly well. You know, focus more on surface area and volume than depth, to be honest with you. And I wouldn't even, you know, if you're going to go say, oh, I'm going to go to 2 meters to get the extra volume, don't waste your time, because it's not worth it. And half the time it can cause more hassle than good, to be honest. I use 2 water header tanks for my filters. Absolutely. I still remember my first pond. I had a homemade system at one end of the pond, and then an additional filter I made. I used to love concocting little filtration boxes and stuff. It was cool, but they work at the end of the day. You can do this and get into the hobby on not a lot of money. And it is actually something I've spoke of doing. It's in there with all the other stuff that I tend to not have time for, but is actually demonstrating on what could possibly be done on, say, a 500 or £1,000 budget, actually starting from nothing, and what kind of system you could get, and then what results could be achieved with it. So you never know. One day I might figure out a way of pulling out, because I'd be curious myself to see, you know, you take, and admittedly starting out, I'll be not going to have that knowledge or experience, but I think it would be good to highlight what could be done, because I'm pretty confident I know I could yeah, shock a few people. Evening, buddy. Thomas, I believe it was me that made the statement about not having a pond and enjoy listening to your enthusiastic love of koi, but my daughter has a large garden, and she said maybe. That's amazing, mate, and I appreciate the fact that you've actually tuning in, buddy. Hello, Ricky. Is it really useful to cover your pond permanently with a pergola, for example? Good evening from France. Amazing. Yeah, so it is. I'm just be cautious around covering, because like I say, the whole thing here is just getting the balance with the UV. And this is hard. This is why I'm not going to be saying too much about it and have people doing crazy stuff that then, you know, I'm not fully there on what is perfect and right and wrong with this yet. But what I do know is too much is not good. I don't think most people have enough. You know, when you're getting covers on your pond, even just things like polycarb, remember, polycarb will cut UV transmission through it really a lot as well. I think you can get different levels of UV transmission through it, but it generally is quite a lot removed, which you need to be careful of. So yeah, I mean, a pergola, it can be a good deterrent for predators from above or whatnot, but a completely blacked out roof for me is a no-no. I mean, aesthetically, if it's what you want in your garden, fair enough. If we're putting fish first, it's not the ideal solution. You want to be able to let 100% light through, and then have some kind of material to control what actually eventually gets through to the pond is as much I'll kind of say on that at the minute. But I mean, aesthetically, just a nice kind of Japanese style pergola without any roof covering can look really nice over a pond. Not that I, I mean that we see that the pond aesthetics and stuff is the least. Well, it's just not important to me, to be honest. But I get these are features in a garden, and that does tend to work really well. Well, there you go. I've let a bit more on tonight, and then honestly, it's not really a secret. I don't think, from what I know, it's ever really been massively spoken about. And again, I've not got any. This is literally just what my eyes have picked up, and finally, just a few dots connected up to seeing the real impact of it all playing out. Do you have any recommendations for a snow Asagi breeder? Yeah, I've basically been. I mean, any Asagi breeder potentially can produce a Yuki Asagi. Now, there's not actually, as I know of, a pure lineage for Yuki Asagi, as they're called. Yeah, they are basically, as most breeders sell them, in my words, a defunct, retarded Asagi that some breeders often just culled. Now, there's one guy who's a prominent Asagi producer, and I had this crazy conversation with him one year because at the same time he started producing Deutsch Karasagoi and Yuki Asagi, and I'm sure there was something else I can't remember. So I'm chatting away to him. Well, what have you done to produce the Yuki Asagi? And this is how the conversation started. Well, my dad used to throw them away, right? But we just decided to keep them. Brilliant. So obviously in the culling process, typically they were too far gone and they've not wasted the time with them. And then the Karasagoi one went, well, typically my dad used to throw them away. Wow. There we go. That is literally the difference in availability of something, Yuki Asagi being available and not. My problem with that, however, it kind of tells you, especially with the Asagi, there is the potential in them that and when you've seen how I select Asagi as well, with pretty much no coloration in the back, is that it comes, because I've said it so many times now, they darken over time. It's a natural part of the process. So some of the white ones that start off as Tosai, even Nisai potentially as a Yuki looking Asagi, can become a normal Asagi. There's very few that stay pure white. Now, I actually think I might have struck the jackpot, however, this year, because I've currently got a Ginrin Yuki Asagi and a Yuki Asagi from Golden Corn lineage as well, swimming around, and they look superb. And honestly, they're not. It looks like solid Shiroji on the body. I have real confidence that they're going to stay there. But just know it's always a gamble, and that's basically what you define a defunct Asagi that hasn't developed the color, but there's a chance. The older you buy it, the less that risk will be as well. But to my knowledge, there isn't anybody I know of actually trying to actively produce and producing that as a stable variety where they've bred out that, kind of blue characteristic that can come through in them. If one can't afford sake, what would be a good brand? Okay, so this is not something I like touching upon too much because I've got my beliefs in all that. But if it is really a case that is completely out of reach, I have said several times, one of my other kind of preferred brands aside from that is Takazumi, from what I've seen all over the years. And trust me, there's not many that I haven't used either. Come to think of it, I really can't think of one I've not used. But yeah, for me, that's one, and it's been out there in the market for a long time now. I do know it's formulated from a unique recipe as well, so it's not like a lot of the you see these own brand stuffs. A lot of this that's all literally coming from the same place, just being repackaged. So yeah, it might be a decent option for you, to be honest, Susan. But other than that, there's not a lot I would even mutter out my breath, to be honest, out my mouth. Do you know how many core you have at KW at any one time? Well, there seems to be a lot of people asking me this at the minute. Yeah, I should do realistically, but no, I don't. But I know we're often you know, there's generally probably easily around 10,000 as a bare minimum at any one point. Height of the season, you can be getting closer to 20. I do know that. I don't think we're at that many at the moment, but we will certainly be cracking on towards that. But it's getting to this time of year now where there's not as many small fish. It's all kind of 25 cm and upwards. So there's also quite hefty fish. But yeah, I do know the bit in monetary value as well. And a lot of people wonder how I sleep at night. But yeah, I just do. You've got used to it over the years. And you just put, again, with anybody in the collect, you put fail safes and stuff in place, you know. So, but yeah, it's good fun. At what point in Sankey would you give up on any hopes of it developing further? So, and yeah, sorry, I meant the Sumi. I would say you want to be looking, you know, generally if you're hitting 3 years old, in any variety really, at 3 years old, that's a point when you're starting to reach early maturity. So if there are problems you're seeing in a fish and you think, yeah, it might be that it's not suited to your water. I mean, such a fish, if you've got a particular fish, if there's such a one that's not happening in your pond, you might find, I mean, certainly in the UK, move that bad boy down to Essex and all of a sudden that Sumi comes flying up. I mean, there's nothing more soul destroying than seeing that happen. But yeah, generally around and a mature 3 years old. I'm not just talking just turned Sansai as they will this autumn at 2.5 years old. You know, you hit that real 36 months old and then onwards, and it's not doing it. It's probably cause for concern at that point, buddy, to be honest with you. How about the fluctuations of green water, pH, and oxygen during day versus night? Yes, of course, that's one to be managed. The pH fluctuations I generally don't find to be that bad. Oxygen is, of course, one you want to manage, but if you've got it pumping in the system there well enough anyway, and I've had that, you know, this green pond running while the water's been at 28 degrees at its height, and they were absolutely fine with everything just running as it normally was. I wasn't tracking pH swings crazily, just checking it every now and again. But so long as you're keeping that KH stable, you're going to minimize your pH swings anyway. Good evening from Sweden, and thanks for yes, Lars. Brilliant. Do you use an ORP meter when dosing PP? Team 118, I'm not sure if you followed the channel for a while, but I'm sure there's quite a few people on here who can possibly answer that one for you. Yeah, no, is the simple one. Yeah, ounces instead of grams. Ouch. It was ouch. I still remember that case quite vividly. Why is PP in the UK so popular? Greetings from Germany. Wow, it's a proper international show this evening. Mental. Yeah, I don't know, buddy. I mean, it's a fantastic treatment. It's a popular treatment, as far as I'm aware, in koi everywhere, or certainly from between Japan and the UK. It's a super useful one to have in your arsenal. Like I said, providing you get the dosage right. That is with any treatment, but with this one more so. And like I say, it comes with its risks, but any treatment does if you get it wrong. Just the thing with PP is getting the dose proper and high enough, and that's where a lot of variability comes in, and probably more the risk with it. But interesting to hear, you know, is that not something that's generally used in Germany? I have no experience, unfortunately. Oh, there we go. Just before I get into that one, reminded me, evening ball bag, how you doing? Just deprived me of another fish out of my stash as well. Yeah, me mango chags. I mean, God, trying to sell him one that I actually had for sale and got collared into one out of my growing pond does me head in. That aside, yeah, conversation earlier, he's let me know that he's doing something wild with the Zeus. Now it's seeming like the chances of these being produced at Dainichi again are a no-go from bits I'm hearing and picking up. So that makes them, the few that are out there, one of these scarcest things in the koi world, I think. And yeah, Neil's doing over at Sunnybank, they're doing a prize draw, raffle, whatever we call them, competition, where you can actually buy tickets for the chance to win that Black Zeus that he's had off me wow, I mean, fair play, mate. Ballsy move. But I get the angle on it. You know, it's the chance for people to grab hold of a fish that will be out of the reach for many, and one that I don't think we're likely to see come out of Danichi for a good time, good while to come anyway. So, yeah, if you check out their socials, and I presume it'll be on the website as well, you'll be able to get more details on that. But what an amazing opportunity, and fair play, mate. Got some balls on you for that one. Happy days. You mentioned that the optimal KH level is 6. Are there any detrimental effects to having a higher KH of 14? No. My understanding from yourself is that it's a dustbin to keep pH stable, but in the hobby, you're always questioning yourself and set up other parameters are solid and fish seem happy. I've answered my own question there. You absolutely have 100% answered it. No, it's fine having it higher. There'll be arguments that, you know, around it being harder water and all the rest of it. I don't give a shit about that. You've got stability. Your fish are all happy. Fantastic. You're doing the job. Leave everything well alone. Hi, Ricky, would you be able to do a video on how you build your DIY stack box filters, please? Tell you what, Kevin, we'll put it on the list, but I'll make no promises. At some point, we might get round to tackling these list items. Just unfortunately, as we kind of get one done, we had about 5 onto the bottom, mate. But yeah, I'll see what we can do, and if we can maybe incorporate it in this video we're looking at doing. David, evening, Ricky. Love the look of your fish. I live in Essex. Where can I see them? Yeah, David, feel free to, off the top of my head, I can't recall. Feel free to drop me a DM somewhere on Facebook or WhatsApp or anything, and I will help point you in the right direction, buddy. Going to be a cold one, yeah, shocking, mate. And I've already seen actually the oil usage in the boiler. The boiler's actually not been off this summer because I've still been heating the outdoor area. I've got the Battle of the Breeders Shiro pond on that line, so that's been up at 24, 25, but it has barely been using anything, honestly, to the point sometimes where I forgot that it actually has still been burning oil and needed replenishing. Needless to say, that got a bit close to the wire, but yeah, sad times in it, really. But I have really noticed this past week the oil consumption's just changed completely. I don't actually think at the minute I'd be maintaining the 24, 25 I'd want in the greenhouses, which it can be the case in September. Just been that long thing, but yeah, I've seen it kicking in to maintain that 25. It's mental. Brad, planning a 4K pond build, debating Nexus versus brush chamber or Sieve to bio. Not fussed about getting hands dirty, which would be the most efficient mechanically. So if that's the route you're going down, mate, I would. I think the Sieve bio combination, even the Sieve Nexus combination, if that's what you're looking at, would be a good one. Don't get me wrong, right? Again, with the brushes, it proves what can be done. Is it what everybody wants? No. Is it the most efficient mechanical filter? No. Doing a bloody cracking job for what it costs. And again, if you're in the realms and that's the kind of budget that you're working within, it proves it works. You know, I've got those chambers. It's a vertical design, so the water comes in at the bottom, obviously hits the brushes there. They do physically actually see it on the brush, and the chamber outlet is above those brushes. So everything's got to pass through that bed of them. And you physically see it pushes and keeps all the waste at the bottom. Towards the top of the brush, there's nothing. So it's fairly, really, you know, quite clean water passing through. They do a job. But, you know, is it great that you're having to do all that? No, I see why people don't want it in the hobby. But then that's what a sieve does for not a lot of money. And you've got that benefit that it's holding the crap out of the water. 300 micron as standard. I know you can get 150 micron screens upon request as well. It's going to do a cracking job for you, mate, and be, yeah, very, very hands off as well. So to be honest with you, that's probably the route I would look down there. I'm pretty sure the recent deaths with PP are down to miscommunication, which led them to not following the correct guidelines. Fair enough. Andy J, thank you. Good evening, Ricky. Have any special koi that need rehoming? I've got plenty of special ones, buddy. I just don't like rehoming them. Steve there. Wow, we're at an hour again already. Hi, mate. I'm from Belgium. Out of nowhere, our koi dock custard cage fee. We lost about 50% of our collection. How to look forward to the future? We are gutted. What would you do? Wow, yeah, Steve. I mean, that's horrible to hear, mate. It's really, really tough. I mean, I have quite a brutal approach to any of this kind of stuff because I often have to look commercially minded as well. And yeah, what would I do? In all honesty, default reaction is I would cull 100%. Now, I get that that's obviously tough because you are, in a lot of the cases, they're also pets and there can be a lot of emotional attachment. But I think ultimately, yes, you can introduce fish into that environment, but there's always going to be very, very high risk in doing it. Or once they've now recovered, you just obviously keep that collection as is and don't introduce any more fish. It's whether you're going to be able to do that over the rest of the time that you're going to have your koi pond. So yeah, I mean, horrendous, absolutely horrendous. For me, no doubt, it would be 100% cull, disinfect, and start again. In an advanced bacterial infection, that would be my choice. In all honesty, because obviously from a commercial side, if you've got fish, with severe ulceration that lead to scarring, there's nothing there either. And sometimes just the sheer cost of treatment in that case can outweigh the cost of actually saving the collection. So I really feel for you there, to be honest with you. And I think that's realistically your two options. Is that as the safety one is you either cull and start again, or you basically kind of accept that realistically introducing fish into there is going to be so risky that you just have to keep what you've got and leave it as it is. Hi, Ricky. My regular dealer here is offering some shows which he says are bred by Omasako. I thought they only bred Kajakus other than Shiros. Do you have any insight on their showers? Yes, I do. I've spoke about them quite a bit, but in the sense of the shower line is actually really interesting. There's a lot of quality to it. They don't produce very big numbers, and the actual whole point that they created a shower line was actually to produce a new line of Shiro, to produce parent fish in order for them to dilute the blood in their main Shiro storyline. The foundation of that bloodline was Dainichi, as the brother Takayoshi actually worked at Dainichi for a long time and just naturally took some parent fish, which kicked all of that off. They also do produce a small amount of goshki as well, believe it or not, which is more of a hobby thing that Takahiro does. But yeah, it is a variety that they produce for sure. And like I say, a lot of quality there. You will see really pure, exceptional Shiroji on them. It's amazing. Let's have a look. That's a different one, I think, isn't it? Over there in Essex. David, again, just feel free to drop me a DM, mate, and through Facebook or WhatsApp, and we'll try and steer you in the right direction. Right, guys, I'm going to have a quick look because I realise what time it is. My stomach is absolutely growling at me. And started very early this morning and feel shot. But let's pick two more because, my God, I can't actually believe how as well as that. Hi from Norway, Denmark. It's been a proper international edition this evening. Right, just bear with me. Let's have a look and see what we're going to go with. Right, love that. You got your pond extension done. I love learning from this channel. That's amazing. Alan's off to Japan. That's amazing, mate. Well done. Oh, that's quite not a taxing one. I don't think I've ever been asked that before. What's the most expensive koi you have sold? So at the time, it was with a client in Japan, and it was just shy of £50,000. Yeah, phenomenal. 4-year-old piece. Insane, absolutely insane. I'm not going into too much detail in case anybody puts any pieces together, because yeah, I like to respect people's privacy in them cases. But yeah, that client bought some pretty heavy hitting fish on that trip. Still not devoid of problems, by the way. Like I said on my Sakai video, it's what you pay for these things is irrelevant. They still come with a lot of the same issues. But yes, it's a crazy world out there in Japan, what some of them can go for. I've seen Tosai selling for that kind of price. Absolutely bonkers it is, if you ask me. Fair play, buddy. Fair play. One last question then. Have you ever lost a really expensive koi with issues or bacteria infections? So not personally, not a single fish that was particularly expensive, but yes, I have been the early days of learning when I was, with my dad. This is where you see the depths of the knowledge and understanding. I don't just sit here spouting about stuff because I've read about it. The amount of fish we lost through periods of learning, unfortunately, through bacterial issues and things like this, a long time ago now, leaves scars, let me tell you, deep scars, and you learn from those experiences. Luckily, all that learning was done out of the way. It was the early years of the facilities that are now the basis of Koi Wholesale, when systems were different. But yeah, I mean, some of the shit, honestly, this is where you learn back then. I mean, it was quite easy to get different antibiotics. Just literally ring the vet up and go, I want this. And yeah, the depths of it were just honestly insane. But again, learn from it all. And now we're at the point where, I mean, for me, it just don't see it. Even, a raised scale would alert me and alarm me. But this is just what you learn. And it's all about then in the avoiding it, just staying in front of things and stop it from happening in the first place, being proactive, and you just put it all together. But yeah, honestly, not to say one single fish, but I'm sure if you tallied up the value over them years of deep learning, my own personal pomfret when it started out, remember a batch of koi I had from Marido, and fucking hell did they drive me crazy. And it was all kinds of different problems and whatnot. So, yeah, wild, but absolutely lost fish from it. Like I say, the values, even early years with sleeping sickness and stuff like that. That's, again, when I sit here talking about these things, guys, this is not just any secondhand knowledge. This is all from very, very deep first-hand learning. And yeah, nasty stuff. That's why when I see it going on out there, I feel everybody's pain. But trust me, when you get the right maintenance regimes and stuff in place and good systems now are naturally more advanced. This is why I'm such an advocate of a fluid bed, versus the old static kind of bays and alpha grog for sure. I mean, that stuff, like, it makes my skin itch. And that's probably why, because it comes from that period. And I saw, the negative effects of something like that in this sort of stagnated systems, if you're not careful. But a fluid bed just makes sense, because when one's designed properly, the opportunity for settlement is very rare. And just this, this clean, protected environment that's kind of, dead bacteria is being lost and news growing all the time. It's amazing. And yeah, game changer for me. But a lot of them periods were around times like that with alpha grog, and it's just something like, once you got a problem in a pond, my God, shifting it was just something else. So yeah, really feel for people when they get it. And just now it's even harder, because like access to the antibiotics and stuff is just so difficult. It's wild. But even learning about different antibiotics then, through sheer desperation, to tell you the truth, you know, one where it literally had a 50-50 chance of healing it within 24 hours or basically causing the wound to absolutely rupture and explode. And I literally saw it across 3 fish happen both ways. Scary shit, you know. And yeah, but you learn from these things. Hence why I say the experience you have as a koi keeper is everything really, and not necessarily gadgets and the bits and bobs. So there we have it, folks. Thank you very much to everybody who's tuned in again this evening. And yeah, I will be back next week, but stay tuned. Hopefully, might be tomorrow or Friday. There'll be a live video with me sorting out another pond up at the farm, and it's quite an interesting one, let me tell you. And stay tuned for the NNDDK. It's going to be an Nishigo Journal update video on the channel this weekend, because so even though it's going to have a shit ending to it, because I forgot to actually do an ending, I think you'll like the first part of it for sure. So, oh, sorry, that's just caught me from Trevor there. If AJ wants to spend time in Japan when he's older, would you let him follow in your footsteps with Safe Fuji? Absolutely, buddy. Hopefully, if he wants to be out there, I'll be right out there with him, mate, to tell you the truth. So, happy days. If he wants to go, that's going to force the mother along. So, magic. What a way to end. Yeah, there we go, folks. Thank you very much, and I will catch you next week.